Hi, and welcome to the Ambient iPad. Let's make some music. Back here on the Ambient couch, and we're still working with Gauss Field Looper. I've really been having a lot of fun with that app over the last couple of weeks, building some nice evolving soundscapes. So let's visit that again. Of course, I'm in 8 matrix. We'll open up our instance of Gauss. I do want to point out that I made a few mistakes last week when I went over the features of Gauss, and I'd like to correct those right now. So I had inertia pretty much right, but because in the timeline you can change the speed of the loop, the inertia really controls how fast it goes or how slow it goes from one speed to another. Also on the right side here of the sequencer, there's actually an envelope that you can apply to the sequence so you can control the attack and the decay. Just gives you a few more features. All right, so for a sound source, we're going to use the Moog Model D. I have sung the praises of that app many, many times. I mean, it's a Moog. And I have to remember to enable on the matrix here that Model D is going to record into Gauss. I set up a number of patches in the last week that I thought would work well here. Let's start with those. There we go. All right, let's start with that one. So I believe everything's set up here. I've got a 9-second loop, and we're ready to record. Move on to another patch. So I'm just adding a few individual notes here and there. The more layers you use, obviously, the more dense it'll get. Really change the mood very quickly depending on the patches that you use, and I'm going to show that right now. There's a couple of presets I want to use in this, but very, very lightly. Just to add a little more texture in the background. I'd like to put in here. Okay, so in this case, the good thing about Gauss, so the tape loop's going, but I can turn record off and try different sounds. I believe this was a patch I wanted to use, but let me double check. I'm just working in E minor here, really basic. You know what? We've been in the same kind of octave range. Let me back on. All right, so we got 4 or 5 different sounds going here. I think one more and we should be good. Do want to turn down, because I see we're getting in the yellow here and we're soon to red line. So apologies for the slight volume drop here, but I do want to keep us out of the yellow. Go back into the Moog. I think that might have been the patch. Make sure see record's still on. We're getting to the law of diminishing returns now, that unless they're very dramatic patches, they're just going to add a little bit more to the texture. The issue with the dramatic patch would be that it would overpower what's already there. So we're going to use this as our last patch. Close that up here, our last layer, so to speak. Let's get out of record. Now, one thing I do want to do is I do want to set up some percussion, just like last time. Got to keep it in the Ruismaker family. And let's use Ruismaker FM this time. I'm not going to change any of the settings until I enable the sequencer, but I just want to get stuff kind of going here. Let's use XO this time. I think we may have used Rhythm last time. We'll use this. This I do need to go into the mini matrix, or we're not going to get anything. All right, so we can close that stuff for now. Whoops, don't want to shrink you. All right, so you can hear the soundscape, nice and evolving. If we move it to twice the speed, completely different mood. And let me turn the inertia up so you can maybe hear that a little. Very quick, as you heard, so let's move it up even more. Okay, so you can see there that when the inertia is high, the speed changes are a lot slower. So I want to turn that up even more. And let's go down to 50%. There's always, with any tape loop, if you're recording, it doesn't really matter what speed you're recording at, but when you go down 50%, or cut the speed in half, it just completely changes the whole mood. So let's do that. You just really get this more earthy, organic soundscape going. Okay. I do like to play with the cutoff in the mod. Actually, though, we need to put a little delay on. The one thing with the soundscapes I found is that if there's not any delay on it, when you go to use the sequencer, you lose a bit of the rhythm. So it's not, it's not as rhythmic. Which reminds me, all these little things I forget. So it does use the clock of 8 matrix, and this is important for the drums because I need to turn on the 8 matrix sequencer itself in order to, well, it's not really a sequencer, but I need to turn 8 matrix on in order for the drums to go. So we slowed that down tempo-wise. Didn't really change the soundscape much, but you can do great things with the filter mod. I find using this is a good way to transition things. So whether you're transitioning speeds or whether you're transitioning it to use the sequencer, having some, essentially LFO going, LFO filter modulation going here helps with that. Or at least I hope it does, because I'm going to go into the sequencer now and let's hear how this goes. Slightly. And the steps in the trigger control the tape speed. I mean, this is really a gating sequencer, at least to me. So we did this last time. You know, you can hear that you can just get a lot of different effects. You can move that. So that this speed goes up, speed goes down. Zero those out by double tapping. Let's just keep it this basic quarter note rhythm. Let's bring the drums in and we'll work on those. And we're getting nothing here. All right, let's go back into the MIDI matrix. Oh. I mean, every video I do, there's always something I'm overlooking in 8 Matrix. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe it's not the right app, but this happens in every app. So let's go into. We have nothing here. I'm just going to pick a random pattern in the interest of time. You know what? That's as good as anything. Let's go in here and definitely want some reverb on here. Not really going to change the settings a lot here. Again, this is different than regular Ruismaker. Obviously, this is built on FM synthesis. Let's just add some rhythmic variation. One thing though is I do need a little bit of reverb. Let's use EOS 2. This is just a fantastic all-around reverb. I think if I could only own one reverb, it would be this, because the capabilities are really there. And it's, for what you get and the sound, the price is extremely competitive. Okay, that's a little too much. Yeah, maybe some, yeah, you know what, we'll just add ambience. Yeah, that's maybe a little less on the mix. Okay, that's close enough. Close enough for rock and roll. Or ambient music in this case. All right, so what I want to do is go down to 50% now. So getting out of the sequence, again, I'm going to use the filter mod because try to make it as least abrupt as possible. This time we have the inertia up, so that should help. Let's get out of Ruismaker. Okay. Here we go. Okay, not that bad of a transition. Now we've got to go to 50% though. Which I should have done while this was warbling, but I'll go back and make it warble a little more. Keep the soundscape going to the fade out. As you can hear, there's a lot of cool things you can do with the Gauss Field Looper app. And in this case, we were really just using a monophonic synth, the Mini Moog. And you could use hardware in the same manner, whether it's a monophonic synth or a modular synth, and build up sounds depending how dense you want your soundscape to be. And speaking of hardware, next week, we'll do some ambient music using this. This is the Roland TR-06, which is their modern interpretation of the TR-606, great drum machine from the 80s. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and good luck with your own music.